Hi everyone, my name is Eva. I'm an executive wellness consultant. Today I'm going to create a smaller video because I'm running out of time. Tomorrow I have to be up early, so it's going to be a shorter video, but I think the following I should be able to create a longer video so that you'll be able to walk away with more. So tonight I have for you one recommendation that you could have to improve your gut. And then I'll be switching over to a story from the Bible. It is from John 20:24 through 29. That's the verse, and it's in chapter 20. So I'm just going to go ahead and start off with the recommendation. I'm just going to move my heater away from me because it's blasting on me. One sec. Okay. So this one is probably something that you may already be consuming. And I just want to point out, I don't have any makeup on right now. I'm getting ready to go to sleep. Oh, and I have this huge cross on my head because it's Ash Wednesday. And every time I do a video late at night, I feel like my energy level stays high, and then I have difficulty going to sleep. So I'm going to try my best not to stay neutral so that I'm able to get some rest, because I do have to be up early tomorrow. Okay, yeah, so today was Ash Wednesday. And we can get into the specifics on what that is for the next time, but for tonight, we'll just make it short and sweet. Today was Ash Wednesday, and I hope you were able to get out and get that done. It's not mandatory, and it's not, is what I've heard, that it's not mandatory. But it's good to have, to go and get on Ash Wednesday. Okay, this is live yogurt. It literally is just a picture of a bowl with yogurt, plain yogurt, I would imagine. There it is, so you can see it for your own eyes. Although that's coming up for the theme for tonight, that you don't always have to see, but you do have to believe. Okay. Live yogurt. Yogurt is a fermented, and sorry about this. This is the first time I read this off, so if I stumble a little bit, I'm sorry about that. But the Bible story, I did read it once through. I noticed from the last video that I should have read the other story at least once, and I didn't. So that's why it wasn't as smooth. Okay, so yogurt is a fermented, slightly acidic food product made from milk. Yogurt is usually made from a concentrated milk and is soured by a specific bacillus. Bacillus, I guess that's how you say it. Let me look for the proper pronunciation. There it is.
Bacillus.
Bacillus. It's way off. But I tried, at least. It is it's bacterium, a rod-shaped bacterium is what it says. It's soured by a specific bacillus. As a food, yogurt is a rich source of protein, contains all of the vitamins and minerals found in milk. Live yogurt, which contains active bacteria, including, that's hard to pronounce, lactobacillus, there you go, I pronounced it right, is most often used therapeutically and should be eaten to increase the healthy bacteria in the body to help it fight infection. Properties are antifungal, may help to reduce cholesterol, encourages the growth of healthy bacteria in the bowels, helps to produce vitamin B. This reminds me that actually Dr. David Sinclair does eat 2 tablespoons of yogurt in the morning with his supplements. And so he eats 2 tablespoons and then he doesn't eat at all day until dinner. He has 1 meal. And I believe I remember him saying that he only eats between either 4 and 8 or 5 and 8 or 4 and 7. I don't recall exactly, but you can go out and watch one of his videos. I'm sure he'll mention it. He's a Harvard professor and he's written a book. Let me see the title of his book. Actually, I don't recall what it is. Lifespan. That's the name of his book. It says its uses are for 2 to 3 weeks following a course of antibiotics. Live yogurt should be eaten daily to increase beneficial bacteria. Apply live yogurt to areas affected by thrush. I don't know what that is. It says disease that is caused by a fungus, like candida. So apply live yogurt to areas affected by thrush. It can also be used internally as I'm not saying that. Daily intake. I should have read this before saying this. Daily intake of yogurt may prevent heart disease. It says cleanse the skin with yogurt, which is a natural moisturizer. Apply to skin with cotton wool. Eat live yogurt for chronic constipation. Can eliminate bad breath that has been caused by an intestinal I don't know what that is.
Putrefaction.
Okay. Caused by intestinal putrefaction. The process of decay or rotting in a body or other organic matter. Just one quick thing I wanted to mention. I have been listening to someone about considering doing the carnivore diet, and I did mention it in one of my previous videos, and it might be beneficial. There are some people, or men in particular, who explain that they had difficulty sticking with it for more than 30 days, and they tried it for 30 days. But it was difficult because they have a family, and as a family and children, you're eating all kinds of foods. I haven't done enough research what the carnivore diet does to younger generations, but that would be interesting. Only in adults, I've only heard that it may be beneficial. So you may want to try that out and talk to your doctor about considering the carnivore diet. Apparently, I heard from listening to, what was his name? Dr. Sean. O'Mara. That's his name. Yeah, Dr. Sean O'Mara mentioned that. I think it's... Maybe I can hold on to this for the next time. This information might not be as important for right now. But I'm just going to hold on to it because I don't know if that it's absolutely true. So I don't want to share it yet. So that is the recommendation. I'm going to move right along to reading the short story about faith. And it has to do with keeping the faith without being able to see. And it's as though you're walking in darkness, but moving ahead and knowing that God is straight in front of you. So this comes from the book of John, chapter 20, verses 24 through 29. And I'll show you a quick picture of what this is, and then I'll read you the description, or I'll tell you actually what it is. It says, the doubting disciple Thomas found it hard to accept the resurrection testimonies. This is Caravaggio's The Incredulity of Saint Thomas. I need to learn how to pronounce that. English is my second language, so I'm still trying to figure out how to say these words. Incredulity, as you heard. Caravaggio, this is a painting of Caravaggio's The Incredulity of Saint Thomas, 1602 to 03, depicts the moment when Jesus invites Thomas to touch his wound, his wounded hands and side, because Jesus was punctured from the side when he was crucified. So Thomas went as far as to wanting to poke his finger through his wound, through Jesus's wound. It's so childish. But Thomas doubted that the resurrection of Jesus. So we'll get into the story, but I'll show you what this looks like. And I would assume the other two are disciples. I'm going to cover what they're doing because I don't know if it's too graphic. So literally, that's Thomas, and then the other two above, I don't know who they are. They're disciples for sure. I mean, Thomas is sticking his finger into Jesus's open wound. So there you are. If you can purchase this book, I would highly recommend it. As you can see, it's very... I think this is just, it's incredible that people would go as far as poking fingers into Jesus. Which just goes to show you how Jesus was, how he used humility a lot, and putting himself at a level where he would understand that people would doubt him, and enough to open himself up to adults who were really quite childish in a way that doubted Jesus. So that's the image. I'll get into the story. So Jesus appears to Thomas. Jesus's resurrection is this starting point for Christian faith. Christianity does not just rely on an account of Jesus, empty tomb, but on the testimony of those who met with the risen Jesus. The first witness of the risen Jesus were women, Mary Magdalene, and the others who went to Jesus' tomb early on Easter morning, Matthew 28, 8 through 10. After that, Jesus appeared to his other disciples while they gathered together and ate with them. Okay, so Jesus appeared to his other disciples while they were gathered together and ate with them. Luke 24:43. However, Thomas was not present when the other disciples told him. However, Thomas was not present when the other disciples told him the wonderful news. He refused to believe them. Quote, "Unless I see the nail marks in his hands and put my finger where the nails were and put my hand into his side, I will not believe," he said. That was Thomas who said that. John 20:25. It's a coincidence that I'm reading from the book of John again because I was going to read from 2 other books, but I decided not to. The same theme in John for this week. Okay, where was I? A week later, the disciples were together again, and Thomas was with them. A week later. The doors to the room were locked. Jesus came and stood among them. Quote, "Peace be with you." Oh, wow. That's magic. I used that same wording yesterday because I'm part of a community, and that's what I mentioned to people. Because I do want to send out good vibes for everybody. And I remember I said, sending good vibes to everyone. I'm part of a community that's obviously in the Christian realm. And at the end, I had the nudge to also add this at the end, and I said, peace be with you all. So it's funny that this is coming up here. And it surprises me now, and I had already read this once, but it didn't cross my mind until now. That's why I'm saying it's magical. Let's see. Peace be with you. Peace be with you. This is what Jesus said to them when he walked into the room. He proclaimed. I'll just read it again because I just want to make sure you understand what's happening. A week later, the disciples were together again, and Thomas was with them. The doors to the room were locked. Jesus came and stood among them. Quote, peace be with you, he proclaimed. John 20:26. Then Jesus turned to Thomas and offered him his hands and his side. In an instant, Thomas knew it was Jesus alive. Standing, I just find this so funny because it's so human to doubt. But how do you doubt Jesus and God? It blows my mind. In an instant, Thomas knew it was Jesus alive, standing before him. Thomas fell down and worshipped. Quote, my Lord, my God. John 20:28. Sorry, I don't want to cry, but it's like so profound that he just realizes that it's him. So it's like... John 20:28. I cry because his presence is just to say the words out loud is profound, to know that Jesus is present. Because I understand what he symbolizes. This is John 20:28. Jesus responded that all who believed in him without seeing him, as Thomas had, would be blessed. And time again, I can say God is real because he's proved it to me so many times. It's quite humorous at this point because it's been really years, and he's giving me signs through people that have said things to me. About 20 years after Jesus' resurrection, Paul wrote a list of some of those to whom the risen Jesus had appeared. The list included Peter and the other disciples, along with more than 500 people. And it's really funny that this mentions this because Jesus apparently has been appearing to people lately, to many people. Where am I? It says, the list included Peter and the other disciples, along with more than 500 people, some of whom were still alive. 1 Corinthians 15, 5 through 8. This was important information for the early church. Jesus's resurrection was not a delusion in the disciples' imagination. Many people had encountered Jesus alive again, and their testimony could be checked. It's funny that it mentions this word alive here, because I was just thinking that word, that the stories in the Bible are alive, because it makes you feel in the moment that you're reading the story and reading some of Jesus's words along with the atmosphere and what is happening at the time. So it really kind of jumps at you in your imagination, of course, but it's an immersive experience. And that's why I always say the stories in the Bible are alive, because it's an immersive experience. Where am I? I'm on the last paragraph. Throughout history, Christians have believed that those first witnesses really did meet Jesus after his crucifixion. His body had been changed by the resurrection. For example, he could appear in the middle of a locked room, but it was still a real body of flesh and blood. Christians believe that this indicates the transformation that will happen to all who follow Jesus into God's kingdom. So so again, there we're getting a secret confirmed that we will come together, heaven and earth, with flesh and blood. Our whole bodies and spirit will come together, and that is the goal. Let's see. So that's it. But at the bottom, there's a quote here. It says, at the bottom it says, it's a quote. It says, because you have seen me, you have believed. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed. John 20:29. Okay, so with that, I don't think I have anything else. Sorry, I did weep a tiny bit. Unexpectedly. Sorry about that. I just get very emotional about these stories because they're so alive, and it's an immersive experience, and we're talking about God's presence. But I think that's all I had for you. Thank you for your time, and I will see you very soon. I hope you have a great day.